Hey everyone, Nicole Savarese here. Just reaching out to you again. I know lots of videos these days. Obviously, we've had lots of good news to share, so I thought I'd take a minute to share some information. George and I sat through a webinar from REMAX today on the market conditions and forecast. Gentleman was really pretty cool. It got me a little pumped up about market conditions, so I thought I'd share some things. I'm going to certainly share these graphs with you once I get them from REMAX, but in the meantime, I took some quick pictures of them and we'll share them quickly with you. So I'm going to use some of his quotes that he has and some of the things that he was saying, but basically what he was saying, change is the only constant. Bad news sells, so don't fall for it, right? Everybody is out there talking about how glum they are about the market and whatnot, and those kinds of conditions. And you know, I understand it. We're feeling the effects of it, you know, but this is the transition. This is what normally happens. To be quite honest with you, I've been excited about the transition because it doesn't last. I've been around so long. I've seen this so many times that I get it. They basically said that the average consumer gained about 30%. And they were expecting about a 6.1% drop this year. However, Goldman Sachs is changing their forecast to 2.6%. So not for nothing, if they gain 30% and it's only going to drop 2.6% this year, I'm pretty sure many sellers can live with that. I don't know why they would be holding on. So that is definitely a good one. These are the graphs that they shared with me, and I'm going to go ahead and share these with you once I get them from REMAX. So the sales numbers are still higher than some of the average years that we've seen. Come on, 2019 through 2021, you got to admit, those were not normal years. I mean, I used to have in my old company a million years ago, there was the leaderboard that we would have sitting up, and next to it would say, "Oh Lord, just please give me one more real estate boom, and I promise I won't spend it all this time." Well, sales numbers are still higher than some of the average years, and I'm going to take that one to the bank because they're absolutely correct. But a lot of people were saying that they felt the pivot. They literally felt the change in the market. And according to this graph that we have here, he's absolutely correct. All right. So in 2021, January, 443 sales. In 2022, 422 sales. So essentially no difference from one year to the next, from 21 to 22. Well, December, okay, there was a legitimate drop from 500 in 2021, 574 sales, to 2022, 374. So it was a pretty significant 200 sale difference. So yeah, did we feel the market just absolutely make that turn? According to this graph, it was back in June. So yes, we have to take those things into consideration. It's making sure that you tell the right story though. All right. These, you know, again, drama is what sells, right? When fear and anxiety are high, drama goes up and everybody feeds off of that kind of stuff. So making sure that you tell the right story. It's not all bad news. All right. 2.6% is not a big deal. As far as our months of inventory and supply, the graph pretty much is staying pretty close. I mean, we all know that on a normal year, average market inventory is 4 to 6 months. Well, last January of 22, 1.6 months. Well, obviously, that's when we were seeing bidding wars and everything else still going on. This past December, 2.9%. But 2 to 3% is still a very aggressive market. So it's about telling the story. Yes, we did have 1.6 months worth of inventory and it was crazy. Now we're seeing 2.9. We're just starting to balance. No, you know, to me, again, no big deal. I get it that we're all feeling the effects, you know, but we have to understand where we're at. But what does all of that stuff mean that I was just telling you about? Prices are holding, okay? Inventory is going to remain low. So obviously, if we have supply issues and demand is still high, prices are going to stay where they are. So we need to be telling that story to our sellers. I'm sorry, I'm trying to go quick here because I know you got how you guys are about long videos, but I sat through an hour of this, so I'm condensing this as quickly as I can. Bear with me. All right, so this is a graph on interest rates, all right? And I'm sorry, I got to pull it back. 5.5 is your strong buyer market. 5.5% interest to 6% is your strong. 6 to 6.5 is a good buyer demand. 6.5 to 7% is limited buyer demand. And 7 to 7.5% is a weak buyer demand. Well, I don't think I need to tell you guys where the interest rates have been, but the interest rates currently have been staying in the good demand. So it's not all bad. Again, we need to tell them our experience matters. We've been stating this. We know that by having good experience right now and having what it takes to sell in a transitional market, it's what our sellers and buyers need to make sure that they're getting the advantage. This is when we shine. All right, so what are we projecting for the interest rates for the rest of the year? The Q1 projection average is going to be 6.25. Q2 this year, 5.9%. So our Q2, our rates are going to drop. Q3 projection, 5.73. Q4, 5.6. I'm going to go back to this graph again that I just showed you. That's strong buyer demand. Strong buyer demand. So if your sellers are waiting because they feel like the prices have dropped, we're not expecting it. Prices are going to remain the same. Inventory is going to still remain a bit low. But what does that mean for sellers? All good things. All right. He used a pretty cool analogy. I'm not a NASCAR person, and I'm sure many of you are, so I'm going to try to get this straight. He says it's easy to go fast when you're going straight, but they make their money in the turns. Now, I felt that that was pretty interesting of an analogy to our business because, to be honest with you, RE/MAX has always done very, very well in the turns of the market. So I thought it was a pretty cool analogy. However, what are you doing differently? What are you going to do to accelerate in that turn? All right, take that. Opportunity is in every market, and it is never lost but always found. These are some pretty cool quotes that he gave us. All right, so here's the turn on some of the information. We're expecting a 20 to 30% decrease in 2023 in units. Not price, okay, but the amount of sales that are going to happen. So that means that we need to beat everybody out. We need to be better at what we do. And that's typically where we shine. All right, so pending home sales in the Northeast are down by 32.5%. So yes, that's because we have a lack of inventory. So now it's a matter of what are you guys going to do to change it? All right. I thought that this was really cool. He said, play chess, not checkers, which means you need to be strategic, right? Think 3 to 5 moves ahead. How will this set me up going forward for the rest of the year? So continue to make your plans. Think about what you're going to do, how you're going to, what's selling right now. What's not going to affect people with interest rate? What markets don't affect people whether the interest rate has anything to do with it? Which obviously interest rates really aren't going to be that big of a deal. But what are you doing to do that? Are you showing up? Are you actually putting in the hours of work? Okay. Our agents average, according to national statistics on RE/MAX, is that our agents work 40 to 60 hours a week. I think I just got that wrong. Our average agents work, 40 to 60 hours. I was right. 40 to 60 hours a week. I probably work maybe a little bit more than that, but that's why we make our money. So are you showing up? Are you doing what you're doing? What's old has become new again. What we used to say is go back to the basics. Reach your database. You haven't had to do that. You haven't had to touch your sphere. You haven't had to do much. And for the people that have gotten in the business during the heyday, as we call it, good for you. Now it's time to create a plan. Figure out what you're going to do. Figure out how you're going to touch your people. Figure out what buyers and sellers are going to need to sell during this market and what you can challenge them with. 49% of agents made less than $50,000. RE/MAX outperforms all of that in the industry. And again, this is when we shine. Last thing, 29% of agents did 0 to 5 transactions. That's not us. We can do better. We know that we are. Our RE/MAX office in 2022, with an average of 22 years of experience, our average lead made $285,000 last year, and our average of all of our agents made $180,000, 14.5 units. So we're working, we're doing, we know that we're better. We know that experience matters. Get it done, create a plan, maybe come back to the office. I know since COVID, a lot of people are working from home and they found that very comfortable. Well, step outside your comfort zone. It's time to grow. It's time to change. It's time to pivot with the market. Transition markets are always tough, but we're good enough to figure it out. All right. Sorry for the long email or video here. I worked, on trying to make sure I could get this down as quickly as I could. I spent an hour watching it, so be thankful. I'll send these slides out as soon as I can. All right. All is good. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.